That's absolute nonsense. Listen, before every election, you can check the historical records and you can check the anecdotal evidence. You would have had in your archives footage of the crowds that line up for nationalization before an election, because indeed people want to get their citizenship so that they can vote. And that's all that happened on this occasion. Now, admittedly, among the hundreds, perhaps thousands, that did get nationalization before the last election, there would have been a few cases, as it now turned out, of people whose papers were not, in fact, in order. So, my best guess, you might find 30 or so of those cases. You are, without a doubt, not talking about any significant numbers such as would have or could have made any difference to the election results. And there is no evidence at all to say whether all those that got citizenship before the election, in fact, did go and register in time to vote. That sort of thing would have to be checked out, and I welcome the media engaging in that exercise, because I am absolutely certain that you cannot find any large numbers of persons having obtained citizenship fraudulently or improperly, thereafter voting in the election in such droves as anybody could claim affected the result.
Madam former Director Ruth Meighan has conceded in the Senate inquiries that there was nationality fraud and that it transferred over to voter fraud, and the Auditor General notes that she wants to look specifically at 2,110.
They're talking about the 2,000 where there was not the biometric system in place. Nobody's saying that there were 2,000 passports that were issued fraudulently. I think the media ran off with that kind of characterization from the time the question of the lack of biometrics came up. We had a press conference at the Biltmore where the new director, and the experts showed you that you cannot equate the lack of biometrics with fraud. That is the way it used to be from time immemorial before we had biometrics. So please let us dispel that notion. There is nothing at all that can support any claim that 2,000 and odd persons were wrongly given nationality.
Sir, that is what the Auditor General says in her report. She asks you if she wants the government and she wants herself to look at those 2,000 and make sure.
Well, but we've already told you. We've already told you you cannot, it doesn't make any sense at all to say that the lack of the biometric screening meant QED, that the passports so given were fraudulent. That's nonsense. And you can't prove a negative. So I'm very sorry. But please, it is as I said earlier, let the Senate inquiry, let any other official, I'm happy to commission that sort of an exercise, make the kind of investigation into how many people were actually given irregularly or illegally or improperly nationality certificates, who then registered and voted. Find that out, and then we can start talking again, because I'm telling you, you will discover that you're not talking about any significant numbers.